Hello again, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Today I want to teach you all how to make a computer that can interface with the Create mod in a way that increases production value or quantity quite a bit. Like, it is way faster than using any manual item sorting, moving pieces. And that's what I like. I like to automate things. So we're going to start by learning one of the first main things that you want to build in your base when you're using the Create mod, and that is one of these computers. This is an ugly one. I just threw this together. The building I had for it was too small, so I got rid of it. But we're going to start by just tearing this whole thing down, and I'm going to build it back up piece by piece and tell you guys all about all the different parts, trying not to overload you with too much information. I'm not using all of the applied Energistics mod tools or features. I'm just using a few different ones that work well with what I'm doing, which is like, I want 1,000,000 cobble. I want 100,000 iron. I want all of the things. So, alright. Let's get to destroying this. Gotta get this Akram out of my fucking screen. I'm gonna put all of my ME drives over here. Just for storage for the moment. Alright. Everything is taken down, except for these two quantum. There we go. These are for my old base. I had one previous to this where I was testing out a lot of the Create mod stuff. The new stuff, the frog ports and all that, which I absolutely hate. I've tried using them. I built a whole factory, conceptualizing storage and moving all the parts around. Not only was it like at least 100 times slower than using the computer mod to move items around, but it just simply didn't work. The frog ports would just stop working. I don't know why. They would stop accepting packages, and then it just made a huge mess in the factory. There were packages backed up. As far as you could see, there were packages everywhere because I had to break chain conveyors. I hated it, and I'm not doing it again. I'm not using frog ports. So to get around that, we're going to use the Applied Energistics 2 mod, and we're going to build a computer. It's really simple. Trust me. It may seem a lot at first, and it definitely is if you're online and you're trying to learn about the Applied Energistics mod. It's hard to sift through what you're going to use and what matters. So let me just pop all this stuff down into my... let's see. Terminal. So the first thing we're going to do is place down these ME controllers. Now I'm just going to go with the tried and true cubed method. Oh, too many. Okay. So we've got ourselves a non-functioning computer box. Next thing you want to do is power it. So we grab a energy cell. I don't like the progression system for the computer mod. I find crafting all the items and doing all that to be very boring and repetitive. In the Create mod, it's much more interesting, but the computer mod has a long ways to go in regards to getting started. So I personally just use JEI, and I just spawn in all the items that I need to make the computer, because I can't be bothered to spend 100 hours trying to make a computer. I want a nice inventory that I can just click with a button and access every item that I have, as long as it's chunk loaded. That's what that's there for. I can show you a little bit about that after this. But this is our basic size. We're going to throw a battery on here. And now it lit up. We've got a computer. I'm actually going to... We're going to put... some of these. Battery. Oh, that's not a battery. Battery. Okay. And then I want to throw a charger. We got a wireless access point. So the charger is for, well, charging. I have another mod which adds wireless crafting terminals and wireless terminals. I just equip it, and whenever I press the button on my mouse, it brings up the network. It can't be found right now because we just destroyed it. But this is a charger, so that you can keep using that little memory card as an interface with your inventory. This is a wireless access point. Just gonna pop that down here. Fill it up with boosters. The wireless access point makes it so you can access it with the wireless terminals, but more importantly, you can access it from a very far distance. With a maximum wireless booster, it can go up to 500 blocks. This is the screen that you would use to sync up your monitor with the computer. Okay. So that's the wireless booster. That's the charger. We got a power cell. Gotta power the computer. Now, we fill it up with cables and peer-to-peer peer-to-peer points of access. I'm gonna need 16. I'm gonna need more than that many peer-to-peer points. Yeah. All the peer-to-peer points. We're going to do 4 sets. Each one of these surfaces that you see, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then all the ones inside, and on all the sides, each one gives up to 8 ports. I think it's actually more than that if you just use the computer directly, but the peer-to-peer port tunnel, it only transfers 8. So the idea here is that we don't want a million wires. As you can see here, I've got 1 wire going up to all of my different machines here, and I've got another wire that's going off into the abyss to run my tree factory, among other things. But we don't want 7,000 wires everywhere. We just want a couple. Plus it saves time. So, peer-to-peer points. You throw these things on here. That's 8. We're We're going to collect them with smart cables. Smart cables can hold 8 ports or 8 signals at the same time. And then we'll do the same. Maybe we'll do this on the inside. So we want 8 of these peer-to-peer points per cable. You choose a few different colors. Connect everything up. Let's set up the next one. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Do green. Okay. Let's bring the green out. Bring the red out. Now on this side, we're going to do black. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now this computer should last you the entirety of your playthrough, thousands and thousands of hours in the Create mod, making millions and millions of items. It can hold everything. This is a massive computer. And I'll show you when we get to the hard drives over here, when I start moving these back over. That's what's going to store all of your items. These hard drives, basically network storage. So these big hard drives are going to be on the back here. Or this, yeah, no, we're going to put them right on top. Yep, we're going to put them right on top because top's cool. Extend the black. It's all connected. Now, what you want to do is the peer-to-peer points basically create a sub-network. So you need to connect them up with... There we go. And then we got to battery power them. Do I have another battery? I do. I have 2. Yeah, that's nicer. There we go. Feed everything into this second controller. And then we power that second controller. As long as it's not touching any wires that hook up directly to the computer itself, just to peer-to-peer points, it'll be fine. But if you connect the battery up to one of these points that aren't connected, like at the top there, it'll create conflicts in the system. You can't have 2 separate computer terminals here on the same system. They have to be separate. Now, these cables, the dense smart cables, can carry up to 64 signals at the same time. Signals are just inputs and outputs. That's the idea of the computer mod. You input certain materials into the chests, you do something with those items, and then you send it back to the computer. And then using the computer, you can actually check the levels of those items in the computer and automate the whole process of creating those items without having to actually manually do it all yourself. So I threw that battery there. We'll bring this cable here in. And we'll bring this cable in. I need a little bit more cable. Where are my cable? There we go. All right. So these are dense smart cables. They hold up to, oh, not 64. Did I say 64? I meant 32. So if you click on the computer, you can actually see every single wire and item thing that is connected to that computer. You can see there's 3 ME controllers, 1, 2, 3. If we go up here, on the other side of the peer-to-peer points, all we have is a charger, the wireless access point. That's what you want. This is your main computer. That is going to be a subnet that the peer-to-peer points can send bulk signals through. I wish I had a better way of explaining that made more sense, but that's the best I could do. I'm actually going to... There's an item, these quartz fibers. These basically block off connections from one wire to another wire or a device. So I'm just going to play it safe and put 3 of these on here so I can plug it only into the computer and not into the wires. Now, that's more or less the bulk of the machine. Now what you want to do is you take out a memory card. We're going to do a couple things at the same time. I'm going to throw on this terminal. This shows us all the items that are currently on this system. There are none because we haven't hooked up the hard drives to it yet. Actually, yeah, let's do the hard drives before we do the memory card. Let me put this stuff away. That, this, that. Grab. Do one at a time. We just throw all the items in there. If you look at so these are 256K ME item storage cells. They can hold up to 63 different items, and the bytes used is basically the quantity of total items that you can have. So if you look on this one, it shows that I've got copper nuggets and mud and wood and paper. I've only used 45,000 of the 262,000 bytes that I can use, and I've only used 22 of 63 different types of items. These ones are all... Oh, that one's got stuff. And the computer mod will automatically sort all of this for you. You don't have to put it in yourself. So you fill up the hard drive with those things. Another hard drive. Ah. Okay. Will this work? Yeah, it seems to. Okay. The computer is a very robust system. Unlike my fiasco with the 10 million boxes everywhere with the create mod, the computer mod, a creeper blast can go off right in the center of it, and you can just rebuild it and you won't lose any of your items. They'll all just be in those hard drives. And if you look closely, you can see some of them have blue lights. Those are the ones that are like medium filled. And you can see they, of the applied energistic mod computer, evenly distributed all of those items amongst the hard drives. It's not just filling one hard drive or one network drive full of hard drives. Just throw that in there. I really don't need this many hard drives. I used to make the computers way bigger. Pointless. It holds a lot of items. As you can see here, if this oh, it doesn't show because my network isn't hooked up. But I make cobble over here, and I've got about 1 million cobble sitting inside of these hard drives. So now that we've got the peer-to-peer network set up with 47 P2P tunnels, now this isn't... The reason why it's 47 is because I've got P2P tunnels on all these different machines that we need to go around and reset up. So what you do is you take out your memory card, make sure there's nothing in your offhand. If you have torches, anything like that, it'll just say memory card cleared. So nothing in your offhand, and then you look at the peer-to-peer tunnel, you crouch, and click. Right-click. And then if you look in the top, it says frequency 8923. You don't need to remember that, but that just shows you that it is currently connected to that point. And then you can go over to one of the peer-to-peer points that you have set up further down the line. See that I'm using the 32 channel line here. There's a peer-to-peer point right here, and I'm just going to link it up by right-clicking it. No crouching, just right-click it. I do not need this, this, and that. So now these are all, if you look close, it'll say 8 of 8 channels. Because I have 8 chests, 8 exports, and I'll explain to you this setup I have here when I get a couple more of these points up. So we did that one. So you just go to the next one. We'll get to this gray one. Take the next one. And the next one. Whee! Okay. 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 8 of 8 channels online. You do not need to supply power on the other side of the peer-to-peer points. The way that it works is it's actually getting power from that create cell. So this one is on the subnetwork, and this one is on the main network. The hard drives are on the main network. The subnetwork is just to transfer energy for these peer-to-peer points, so you don't have to have 10 million different wires. I'm going to swap over to FreeCam here. What I like to do for my inputs is I will have these ME interfaces. The reason why I use ME interfaces is because there's only 8 slots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 slots. There's only 9 slots. A regular chest has way more. A barrel has way more. with this, you don't need to use up so much material to just fill up the chest that is going to be used to send over to the machine. So it's not like wasted, because anything that's in here you cannot access from the computer. It's just being held as items to be processed if need be. I have this sequence over here. It's got an export bus, and the export buses, you can right click them and you just export. You set a material, fill it with acceleration cards. Acceleration cards literally just make it so it exports that item from the computer into the chest very quickly. And you want that with the big create machines so that they can keep up. But they're relatively simple. You just throw material in there and then it knows, okay, dump clay into here. The next thing is, if you look real close, I've got these little ME level emitters. So I can click on one of those and you can see I want to make terracotta and I want 50,000 of them. So I need to throw in clay because this is the blaster, and the blaster is going to blast the clay, turn it into terracotta, and then collect it over there and turn it back into the computer. And I want 50,000. When that hits 50,000, the light turns on, which disables the funnel, which just makes it so that now you're not going to be wasting materials by constantly having the machine running and grinding through all of your materials to make millions and millions of items. You'll slow down your game. You're going to lag things. You want to have a limiter. So that's what the ME level emitters do. And I have them hanging over the funnels so that they can turn off the funnels. And then on the front, I just have these ME storage monitors. So I just plop these onto the wires. They don't take up inputs and outputs, which is great. But this just shows, in this section I'm making terracotta, in this section I'm making brick and glass, soul sand, or actually smooth basalt. And that's basically it. I've got these quantum rings set up to my old base, so that I can grab all of the items from the farms that I built there without having to rebuild the farm over here, like sugar cane and wheat and just random stuff. You take quantum rings, you put them in a circle, you take a singularity and an ender pearl, and you blow them up together, and then they create a quantum entangled singularity. So you put one of them in here, right here, and then the other one at the other base or wherever you want to be able to access your computer, or transfer items wirelessly from one side of the world to the other, and that's it. If you want your computer to work pretty much anywhere, it still will be limited by the 500 block booster, the wireless access point. But if you have a quantum ring in another location with a wireless booster, it's as if you're carrying your computer with you. You can just pop it down and access all of your items. You can farm for sand, pop them into your computer from far away, and move on with your life. I'm going to go ahead and hook up all of the rest of the peer-to-peer points so I can get my factory up and running again. But that's it for the computer mod. If you have any questions, comment down below. If you've built something similar, you know, tell me about it. Maybe I'm being stupid with something. I'd love to learn more. This is what I know of the computer mod, applied Energistics, and it works. It works very well, and it doesn't break, which is not something that I can say for the Create mod or Redstone in general. One last thing before I go, I totally forgot. First thing, the quantum rings will not work unless your computer is chunk loaded. So I've got a simple chunk loader over here. There's a hopper minecart that is glitched into the side of this thing that picks up the entities of the minecart as they go through the portal. They go through the portal, hit some fire, come back through the portal, get picked up by the minecart. That gets transferred down to a hopper and then sucked back into this dispenser. The dispenser just pops it onto this activator rail and sends it right back through. You can find plenty of tutorials online for this. This isn't too complicated. There's a lever on the side if I want to turn it off. I don't. But if you don't have a chunk loader, the quantum rings will not work. You cannot access your computer from afar because it's not loaded. The other thing I wanted to do was show the outputs. So I talked about all the inputs, but the outputs, even simpler. There's import buses, and you just fill them with acceleration cards, and everything that shows up in the chest immediately gets sucked back out and sent over to the computer. So I can just look up clay ball, and you can see the numbers 99,285, 310, 325, 342. It's making items so fast. And of course, I just wanted to show you these are all my items that are in the computer. If I come over here, you can pop a terminal onto the power line for the main computer, and you can see all of your items here. And that's it, everybody. That's the computer mod hooked up with the rest of the Create mod. If you liked the video, hit me up with a like. Comment down below if you've got any problems setting this up, any questions, something I didn't cover. Subscribe if you like the content. I like doing this. I want to do more. I want to go over how one designs and creates a big steam engine next. But yeah, that's everything. So that's Captain Lay signing off. Bye.